Firstly, I want to express my greetings for your certain sort of program, festival related with Buddha Dharma, and also the memory about past history of that area, and particularly the Amaravati. I have been there, according to some ancient sort of book which translated from Sanskrit, you see, the Shirindanakataka. You see, that place we consider a very important place where Buddha gives some teaching. So sometimes I feel the original, the Danakataka, Shirindanakataka, somewhere in that area, and then the copy of that sort of, what's the huge stupa is, I believe, Borobudur, the temple. I feel that may be copy of the ancient Shirindanakataka in that area. So in any way, that area very important. Once I give some teaching there, and then I remember one huge Buddha statue, I think there, newly built. So there I express, now there eventually should create some kind of sort of academic sort of center where you can learn in a Sanskrit tradition, and Buddha Dharma according to Sanskrit tradition, and of course Pali tradition also, you see, automatically come, but mainly Sanskrit tradition, because Pali tradition, Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Cambodia, Laos, these countries, they very well preserved Pali tradition. Now Sanskrit tradition, historically China also is a follower of Sanskrit tradition, but no longer, say, the genuine freedom of study or practice these things. Now, although you see, seems to be some changing. Then with Tibet and Mongolia is a follower of Sanskrit tradition, but no freedom, difficult situation. So now India, you have the moral responsibility to carry work for preservation of Buddhist Sanskrit tradition. So Amaravati area is one of the important, and also nearby Nagarjunakonda there. In 1956, I had the opportunity, then original Nagarjuna, the Nagarjuna sort of small the place there. Now after 59, now filled with water. So in deep in the water. So 1956, I had the opportunity to have pilgrimage, and in that very room, supposed Nagarjuna sort of spend some time there. So we recite Nagarjuna's own writing at that place. Then later, another occasion, although their original house was a small house, now as I mentioned earlier, you see, in deep inside, deep in the water, but now, was a duplicate survey, one duplicate of that. Now there, once I have been there, again we recite one Nagarjuna's text, like that. So therefore, historically, Nagarjuna was, I think, sometimes we describe Nagarjuna as a second Buddha. In Sanskrit tradition, you see, his writing even language, as a Sanskrit language, are top class. Many Sanskrit scholars, you see, telling me, the style of his writing is really top class, like that. So therefore, now you should pay more attention Sanskrit tradition as a part of academic subject and some sort of program for preservation for this very, very rich one of Indian tradition. That I want to express. Then in that respect, if situation is such, some Tibetan scholars accept the language problem. Otherwise, knowledge is concerned, the whole Madhyamika Mulakarika, they learned by heart. 27 chapters, whole can recite. So they really study the Nagarjuna's, you see, these text. So therefore, we have sort of, because of the, I mean, it is available, you see, we can send some knowledgeable teacher and some, or say, the few weeks seminars, something like that. I hope just to see the place and some Buddha statue or like that, but study the real Buddha's teaching, which I found can go with modern science, such as quantum physics and also human psychology, these things. Now, modern science, many scientists now really very much impressed about, you see, the knowledge, in Sanskrit tradition, about the human mind, about the human emotion, and how to tackle emotion. That not through faith, but through analytical meditation. So therefore, you see, these knowledge come from Buddhist sort of literature, but itself we should consider as an academic subject. These days I am telling, say, the hygiene of physical, we actually learning. So similarly, we need hygiene of emotion, academic subject, and health subject. So therefore, now these ancient Indian knowledge, I feel very, very relevant to today's modern world. And in order to serve humanity, firstly, within the country, these ancient your knowledge should revive. That's my view. So your festival or your sort of program certainly reminds more people. So thank you very much.